before starting our video, let me ask a few questions to you. So, are you ready? Which are the 5 main excretory organs? How many liters of interstitial fluid are there in an average adult? Is ejaculation parasympathetic or sympathetic? How is arterial blood pressure defined? What effect does constriction of the iris have on the Canal of Schlemm? Is constriction of the iris sympathetic or parasympathetic? I know you have studied about these topics. Even sqadia.com helped you a lot in these topics of physiology. But you are confused. Now, after watching this video, you will have a strong grip on these topics, as this video contains life-saving mnemonics. So, let's start our video. In case of blood pressure, BP, copper, is a neat reminder of the relationship between arterial blood pressure, cardiac output, and peripheral resistance. Blood pressure equals to cardiac output into peripheral resistance. So remember the mnemonic BP copper. Now, if you ever get confused about whether systolic pressure or diastolic pressure is higher, let me share an interesting mnemonic with you. S for squeezing, which is what the heart does during systole, hence giving a higher reading, and opposite to it. D for dilation, which is what heart does during diastole. For better understanding, watch our video on Introduction to the Cardiovascular System and how to regulate blood pressure. Now, can you name 6 anterior pituitary hormones? These hormones are thyroid-stimulating hormone, growth hormone, the 2 gonadotrophins, follicle-stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone, prolactin, and adrenocorticotrophic hormone. So, the mnemonic for these anterior pituitary hormones is those giant gonads. Prolong the action. THS indicates towards thyroid-stimulating hormone. G in giant indicates towards growth hormone. Gonads indicates towards the 2 gonadotrophins, follicle-stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone. RL in prolong indicates towards prolactin, while ACT in action indicates towards the adrenocorticotrophic hormone. For better understanding, watch our video on growth hormone. Moving forward towards immunoglobulins, also known as antibodies. These are glycoprotein molecules produced by plasma cells. And we also know that there are 5 classes of immunoglobulins: immunoglobulin G, immunoglobulin A, immunoglobulin M, immunoglobulin E, and immunoglobulin D. But I have a very easy mnemonic for you to remember these classes of immunoglobulins, which is gamed. Now, moving forward, each has 4 polypeptide chains, 2 heavy and 2 light. These chains are held together by disulfide bonds. Heavy chains are specific to each class of immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin M is produced first in the immune response. Immunoglobulin G appears later as the immunoglobulin M level falls. This secondary response of immunoglobulin G is due to activation of long-lived B lymphocytes on repeated exposure to the antigen. The secondary response is quicker and greater. Let me summarize it for you. There are 2 types of responses: immediately produced and greater response. I am in immediately indicates towards immunoglobulin M, while G in greater response indicates towards immunoglobulin G. For better understanding, watch our video on classes of immunoglobulins, antibody structure and function, and antibody diversity and synthesis. Now, moving forward. In starting of this video, I have asked you many questions. One of them was, it is ejaculation mediated by parasympathetic or sympathetic nerves? Let me make it very simple and easy for you. If you think of the erection as pointing mediated by parasympathetic, and the ejaculation as shooting mediated by sympathetic system, this makes perfect sense. For better understanding, watch our video on the autonomic nervous system. Moving towards another interesting mnemonic for fluid compartment. This one needs a little bit of thought. Stay calm. It's not too much. You need to say to yourself, 12, 3, 30, 45. If pit. It works something like this. 12 is for 12 liters, and IF indicates towards interstitial fluid. So 12 liters of interstitial fluid. 3 is for 3 liters, and P for plasma. So 3 liters of plasma. 30 indicates towards 30 liters, and I indicates towards inside cells. So 30 liters inside the cell. 45 indicates towards 45 liters, and T for total body water. So total body water is 45 liters. Do have a go. Write it out a few times now, and you will remember it. Writing will reinforce a motor memory and sensory pathway to strengthen the visual stimulus of the above. For better understanding, watch our video on body water compartments and physiological fluids. Another question which I have asked you was, which are the 5 main excretory organs? Recalling the 5 main excretory organs is a skill well worth knowing. S for skin, K for kidneys, I for intestines, O for liver, and L for lungs. Now, do you know what is Canal of Schlemm? Well, the canal is a space at the sclerocorneal junction. It drains the aqueous fluid away from the anterior chamber. Any increased resistance to this flow will cause a rise in intraocular pressure. Here's a handy way description. C, P. Constriction of the circular muscle opens up the Canal of Schlemm parasympathetically. So let me share an interesting history. Friedrich S. Schlemm in 1795 to 1858 was professor of anatomy in Berlin. He was over 21 years old when he discovered the canal. By a freak coincidence, an intraocular pressure of over 21 millimeter of mercury is a sign of glaucoma. Now, for the rest of your medical career, you will know that an intraocular pressure over 21 is a sign of glaucoma, whether or not you wanted to. Moving forward towards mnemonic 4, heart sounds. The first heart sound, S1, is made up of a mitral component, M1, and a tricuspid, T1, component in order of valve closure. The second, S2, is made up of a 2 aortic followed by the pulmonary valve closure, P2. This gives a sequence from S1 to S2, of M1 to T1 to A2 to P2. You will find this sequence easy to learn with Mighty app. M, and T in mighty indicates towards M1 and T1, while K and P in ap indicates towards a 2 and P2. For better understanding, watch our video on the heart and cardiac cycle. Next is Sqadia's guide to the sarcomere. Sarcomere is the basic contractile unit of muscle fiber. Each sarcomere is composed of two main proteins filaments, actin and myosin, which are the active structures responsible for muscular contraction. The most popular model that describes muscular contraction is called the sliding filament theory. First, draw two Z-lines, the borders of our sarcomere. Secondly, draw an M-line in the middle. Thirdly, add a dark A band. Finally, what's left must be the light I zone. So this is heavy zone with heavy chains only. Isn't it so simple? This was all about today's video. Stay tuned to sqadia.com for more precise and knowledge-stuffed videos.
Explore our extensive library of over 1,800 video lectures to learn about a wide range of topics. Only on sqadia.com.